let me know. I'll do what I
When?
can. Nothing. Silence.
Was like noon today?
Yes.
Look, dude, I tune out half of your stuff. I don't always listen. Like, what do you always say?
Wolf,
No.
do you see what I deal with? Fuck.
Look, I have very little attention span. I got 3 kids. I'm working. I got one who got into a bag of marshmallows today, and they're all over the fucking floor. You have no, sorry, YouTube, all over the damn floor, and you would not believe.
It wasn't me this time.
Do you know? I told
Oh,
you guys
believe
we're live, but this is what my kid has been. So she's been homesick for like 2.5 weeks, almost 3 weeks. In 1 week, got into marshmallows. She got into the diaper cream, and when I say get into the diaper cream,
Yeah, you
all
said
over, head to fucking toe. Had to give her a shower. Sharpie, not once, twice. And freaking, what was the other one? Oh, hair lice shampoo. That was a great one. That was a fun one.
Yeah.
Head to toe. So,
hey,
you know.
she ain't got lice now, right?
No.
She's the only one.
She better be
The
fucking
only one in the
immune.
family.
That's how you get Daredevil superpowers. We're live on Twitch. Hello, Twitch. Oh, do I have YouTube up?
If I known this was a costumed episode, I would have wore my shark onesie, and now I'm a little mad I didn't.
Well,
There's
to be
do you have it
fair,
still?
I put this costume on because of an event I went to with
This
the
is
kid.
our
earlier,
last.
so
This is our last episode before
Halloween, yeah.
Yeah.
Is it? Don't
It
we have a
is.
Halloween episode? Oh, okay.
No,
That's,
November
well,
1st is.
Oh, well,
Day of the
shit.
Dead, my dude.
It's Friday.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
You don't dress up for that one, do you? Is that a thing?
You could do the skeleton makeup.
Would it get
You
canceled
don't
though?
dress up. That's the whole. There's a whole thing about the skeleton makeup in the day.
Yeah, but not everybody dresses like that. That's like a festival thing or something, right? Where certain people do it as like a, you know what? I don't even know. I'm gonna have to research before I open my mouth anymore.
Let's research that before you start.
Exactly.
Any
Yes,
more of that
I am not educated enough to discuss this topic. I will wait until Day of the Dead, and I'll come prepared with a wiki page.
I won't, because I won't be here.
Oh, it's fine,
Damn, I gotta think of
sisters.
one later.
I'm good. I'm at this point. I told my wife on Monday, I don't care what her diapers look like. I don't care if she's puking. She's going to school. She's going to daycare. I'm paying $1,500 a month for daycare. I have not used it this month. She is going. They can deal with it. I've been dealing with 3 fucking weeks. I love my daughter, but she's driving me nuts. I am like done. You want a jump scare? Try dodging vomit. That will fucking scare you. You have no idea.
I did that all in Silent Hill.
Is that
was my entire Silent Hill playthrough?
Is
My
puking
razor
diarrhea
even-
toddlers and monster
Yeah.
in Silent Hill? You know why am I not
My
surprised?
razor is integrated into your child's puking.
I thought skinless toddlers was the limit, but apparently not. It gets much worse in Silent Hill.
There is no limit. There's never a limit.
Oh my god.
Huck to enemies, yes.
Guys, I've guessed it on so many podcasts the last 7 days. I need to go for Joe Rogan now. That's my end game. I must be on Joe Rogan. I don't matter to him. He doesn't know who I am. I just gotta like sneak on that podcast when he's high and just sit in the chair. That's what I need to do. I'll never get away with it. Just be there. Just show up. Just fuck.
Okay.
Are you hosting?
Yeah. Okay.
After you,
I'm gonna get loud.
When are you
Here, I'll
not
back up.
loud?
No, I'm gonna get louder than usual.
Oh, hold on a
Okay.
sec. Hold on. I gotta put your video in. That's very important.
My video?
Okay.
Video?
Be loud.
Okay. Versus today on
Who let that goat in the mystery shack?
my best wolf. Is this the goat episode?
They're all the GOAT episode. Every last one of them.
Hello and welcome to another fantastic episode of Press Me to Cancel. I am your current host today until they fire me, Chardmonk. And again, no, it's your favorite podcast that starts with a scream, hopefully this week. But I'm not alone, of course. I'm never alone here. Dude, was that you screaming? Yes, babe, that was me. I'm not alone. No, with me are the 2 deaf gentlemen sitting wherever with me. Wolf, how are you doing today, sir? And clearly dressed up.
I am doing great.
Fantastic. And Jake, we already know how you're doing, but I'm going to ask anyways from formality's sake. How
It's
are
been
you,
a
Jake?
day. Just tell your wife that scream was because you spilled your Dr. Pepper. That's all you need to say.
Hey, listen, I only get one Dr. Pepper a week and I'm down 7 pounds, so I'm sorry. All right.
That's pretty awesome.
Hold on. Okay. Sorry. Okay. All right, guys. So, as you could tell this morning, this is our last episode before Halloween. And unfortunately, Halloween is still a week away as of yesterday. So, our wonderful podcast falls a day late and $1 short to the Old Hallows Eve. So, tonight is going to be kind of basically our last roundup of Halloween and all the scary, spooky stuff that we've talked about for most of the month. And we thought to ourselves, what would be a good open-ended kind of question we could ask ourselves. And what we came up with, what is the idea for scary games? What is what do we say? It was I know it's jump scares versus
And I'm not
suspense.
prepared.
Yeah. Well, I am the host here. It's jump scares versus suspense and which games carry that the best. So we have a lot of discussions about Summer 58, Alien Isolation. Of course, I just played Silent Hill 2 remake. Um Alan Wake 2, Sonic the Hedgehog apparently is going to make an appearance in this episode. I don't know how, but
Don't spoil my picks. What is this?
Visage,
Game of the Year
Visage,
episodes?
another
Jeez.
one. Yes, it is. Well, it started with a
Wow.
goat, did it not? The goat scream, of course.
Wow. Okay.
Anyways, yes. So I am kind of I guess the horror streamer aficionado, audio and an audio. Words are hard, gentlemen. Jesus Christ, it's been a week. Jake,
It's a
you're not
Friday.
kidding. Um, anyways, I am in the five of us. I play the most of the horror scary games, and I wanted to discuss with you guys some of your favorite jump scare type games, or your least favorite jump scare type games, and your favorite suspense, or your games that you don't care for that are super suspenseful. We won't go into too much depth. We try to get some videos for these guys, and I'm curious to hear what Jake's opinion is, because apparently he's got not only two surprises for us, but I need to know how that one factors in. So I guess we can go round robin, and I'm going to go ahead and reach out to Wolf. Wolf, let's talk about jump scare games first. Let's just go right into the bat. What are some of your favorite or your least favorite, or we could just do your favorite and then come back around and do a least favorite? It's your call.
Um,
Like, what
well,
would you
let's
like?
go with my first jump scare game. I want to go with
Beautiful, love it.
that would be Resident Evil for the
Yeah.
PlayStation, but specifically the director's cut
Oh, okay.
because
What's different? What's different in the director's cut that
Yeah.
no one has?
monsters were like zombies, like encounter positions were changed up a bit. Um, so a good example of that is where you would first expect the dogs to jump through the windows and scare the shit out of you. They don't.
Oh wow.
But instead, there's two other windows they jump through.
So they still do it, just not in the same spot.
They do it, but they do it twice as much in different places. So
Right.
stuff like
This
that. Like sometimes you enter a room and before you even know what's going on, there's a zombie hugging you, right?
right. Yeah. Yeah. This is a good pick because Resident Evil. I just watched an interview with the developer of Dead Space, which I will talk about later in this episode, obviously. But that game and that scene I have talked about on this podcast before is what made me stop playing horror games where the dogs jumping through the window. Like when I first originally played this on PlayStation 1 and those dogs shoot through the windows and then you run, you're already in panic mode, right? So you start running, you're like, oh shit, and then another one jumps through. I've uninstalled, I've never uninstalled something so fast in my life. And it was PlayStation 2, so you can't uninstall it, you just turn it off. But
You just break the disc.
I did flip the disc up. I flipped the lid up and I frisbeed that bad boy across the room. I was like, no, not playing this. I was not a fan in my younger years of playing jump scares because of that. I hate haunted houses because I don't like people jump scaring at me. So that was a big digital jump scare for me. That's a good
I
call.
love a good haunted house.
Hmm. You want to see me speed walk anywhere? Put me in a haunted house. I will run through that thing, but I won't
Even
run.
today?
But I'll walk
Really?
really goddamn. Even today.
Because you
I
like horror games now, right? So I
I
mean, that's
love
like
horror
all your
games. I
thing.
love scary movies. I cannot stand people jumping in my face. I will hurt someone unintentionally.
See,
I'll do that.
that's
I'll
I
do the
don't
reaction, the
necessarily.
pat.
We're on our first tangent. That's how you know we're not AI.
I know.
A good haunted house isn't all just screaming in your face and loud noises.
Mhm.
It's got to put you on edge and surprise the crap out of you, not necessarily just loud bangs surprise the crap out of you.
I was say I surprised some people too with my
And
stance.
and I will point out my personal favorite haunted house experience was this one. I was like 15. We were walking through this place and it was like done up really good. This was in Vegas. Apparently, it was put together by like college students, but it was badass. And we walked, like, we'd had a good number of scares in this place already. And we walk into this hallway and there's this like metallic statue of a demon in a throne at the end of the hallway.
Mm.
And so we're looking around like, what's going to get us? What's going to happen? Next thing we know, the demon statue is up and out of its chair, flying across the room over our heads at us.
What?
Oh,
My mom, myself, my uncle, and myself all dropped to the floor screaming.
yeah. Yeah. I'd be tearing ass out of there. I would run through one of the fake walls. I'd be gone. It's pathetic. It's sad. It really is. I guess it's the human experience for me. All right. I'll get us back on track there. Jake,
Well,
what about
no.
you?
So Resident Evil, is it just the dogs? That's the jump scares in that one, or is there anything else in that game? Because I've
No.
never
The
actually beaten Resident Evil 1.
liquors, the
Liquors are bad.
liquors. What are those viper things like the lizard guys called?
Oh, like
They've
are
got
they like the slashers or something? I think they're called
something like that. They've got
something
big
like
giant
that.
claws.
Yeah, they're towards the end. Yeah, those guys suck too. They take a lot of ammo. It's
Okay.
it's more. It's not. I mean, the dogs are the biggest thing, and it's like I said.
Right.
The interview with the Dead Space guy was saying his favorite jump scare in a game was Resident Evil. The dogs jumped through
Yeah.
the window. I was like, this motherfucker. No wonder I love his game. But it's not even. It's the ammo starvation like that you have in that game because most of those. I I want to say at that time, most of those games you get ammo and you just go ham. You're just like whatever.
Right.
So you're excited to have a gun, but you can't use it. Like you should. You really need to be smarter about how you're using it, and that game really put you to the surf. There's a definite argument between obviously the jump scares in the game are there, but there's also a lot of suspense through Resident Evil
Right.
because of you're just trying to hoard your gear so that you don't get killed. So yeah, that's a
So
good choice.
yeah,
Because
so I never played the first one really. I mean, I played a little bit of the beginning, so I've seen that jump scare moment, or at least in the original game. But I've mostly played 2 and 3 and Code Veronica. Would you say that one has more jump scares than the other Resident Evil games, or it's about the same?
You know what? 2 probably has more than 1.
mhm,
Okay.
yeah,
I do
I
think
think the
2 was
spiders.
also better at the suspense,
Yeah,
but
Yeah.
there's
in
a lot of
general,
build.
I would say Resident Evil on the whole leans more jump scares than suspense.
Mhm,
Um,
Okay.
Depending on the entry, it gets closer to middle of the road than others, but
right. I mean, so but Silent Hill, fuck, I'm really on that hill. I guess I'm dying on. Resident Evil was designed to be a both suspenseful and a jump scare game, so it's supposed to have both of those aspects of tense moments, feeling uncomfortable, that something pops out at you when you're already like wound up and you're like something's gonna get me, and you've literally been waiting for something to come and get you, and then something finally comes to get you and you're just like, and the best part is a lot of that time you'll see it coming. You're like, I know that person's going to be there, and it'll still jump scare you because that's how suspenseful that buildup is getting there. And that's what I can appreciate, like a game where I know something's coming, I know it's in there, and it
Yeah.
still makes me want to cry. So that's a visage right there. That's
That's
visage
actually a
in a
good
nutshell.
segue for my game, actually, if you want me to go
Perfect.
next.
Yeah, go
So
ahead.
I played a couple games this year, enough to get my blood pressure going, and I swear this one game would have given me a damn heart attack, and that is Elden Ring. Chard's
This
second favorite
guy.
game. So, dude, you got to agree with me though. Whenever you go into a dungeon or a crypt, it's the same every damn time. It's always a long hallway, and there's alcoves, or it's a long hallway that ends with a room, and you know every goddamn time there's an enemy to the right, and it's always to the
Yeah.
right. Doesn't stop
Yep.
me creeping into the room unaware or forgetting that happens, and I walk into the room and bam, a guy's on your ass with a sword out of nowhere, or it's a gargoyle drops from the ceiling or above the door and
Yep.
whacks you every damn time. I've been so scared just just exploring Elden Ring. Forget the bosses and the atmosphere, just exploring the dungeons in that dark atmosphere, and you get jumped every time. It got me every damn time. I felt like an idiot. Also, bear in mind when I played Elden Ring, I didn't have a lantern and I didn't
Oh,
like using torches.
yeah. Okay.
So I
Yeah.
played the first half of that game in the pitch dark. I only brought out a torch when I
It is
needed
dark.
it, and it's a
It
very
is
dark
dark.
game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Once I got a lantern, it was like a game changer for me. But every single corridor, every single alcove, like I've seen things creeping on the ceiling. It was like the giant hands, which are creepy to begin with, just dropping from the ceiling on you. The first couple times that happened, that also make me shit my pants. Like, it's ridiculous. There's a lot of jump scares in Elden Ring. There's a lot of horror elements in Elden Ring, more than I expected from that kind of game. I knew it'd be
Truly
hard.
appreciate. I
I didn't realize
truly
it'd be a hard
appreciate
heart
you.
attack. Yeah.
You put
Uh,
you put Elden Ring in horror talk episode. I love you, Jake.
You don't dis-
Was
you
mean
do you
it, man.
disagree though?
No.
Like, there's a lot of
Yes,
scary
I
moments in
do
that game.
wholeheartedly. But it's funny to me. I mean, I played a ton of those, but I mean, the argument is that those things they blend in with the walls, or
Yeah.
sometimes they don't move, and you'll get up on them, and you're like, hey, and you like poke them with the stick in the eye, and you're like, hey, do something, and then it doesn't. And you turn around, and the next thing you know, you're getting your kidneys stolen, and you found yourself in a bathtub full of ice. Like, it's rough. So I get it.
Yeah.
I absolutely get it. All right, that's interesting. All right, well, since we're on the jump scare
Well,
tactic,
shit, that was
I'm
like the
gonna
best
go.
of my 3 picks, Chart. So I don't know if you're gonna like my other 2.
I know I like it. No, that's great. No, that's good. I think my favorite out of the jump scare games that I played has to be Summer of '58. For those of you who don't know what Summer of '58 is, it's an indie game um, that it came out a couple years, I think 2 years ago, and the premise is you are basically like a ghost hunter, but you're out there to debunk like a lot of stuff. So you go to people's houses and you're debunking that there's ghosts and whatnot in the thing. And a lot of it's filmed in green screen night vision. So there's this, I believe it's in Russia. There's a day camp that mysteriously shut down, and all the children went missing in this day camp many, many years ago. And nobody, there's there's a whole scary lore behind the whole thing. And you go out there and you go out there and it's derelict and it's falling apart. And your job is to debunk. You're going to spend 2 or 3 nights there, debunk the fact that it's cursed, and then leave. And of course, while you're there, all this shit happens. Now, this game has great sound design. This game has extremely well done visuals, and you're working with the night vision stuff. So everything's in that green tent, and you can see things' eyes in the green tent. Very, oh, what's that game that some people love that not everybody loves? That's done with the green
Circus
screen
Charlie.
stuff. No, not Circus Charlie. Sinistar got scared playing it by his wonderful wife. I can't remember the name of it. He'll tell me in chat. I'll try and remember what it is. Um,
Oh,
anyways,
Marvel Snap.
no, that's not it
Okay.
either. Um, but yeah, so you're walking around this derelict thing. It's slow. You're in a very confined space, and you hear Outlast. Thank you. Outlast is what I was thinking of. And there's things happening behind you, and the way the game's designed is that your field of vision is very limited. So you can almost kind of see things in front of you as you walk forward, and they come into visual, and sometimes there's something shaking in front of there just beyond your character's sight, and as soon as you walk forward it's gone, and then you turn around and it makes a loud noise and it's in your face. This is a jump scare simulator essentially. It's not the Five Nights of Freddy's jump scare simulation, which is
Right.
probably on my least favorite jump scare things, because there's a lot more story and exploration in this game. It's exceptionally well done. This game scared the ever loving crap out of me. And I love playing it. And it's a short game. You could easily beat it in 2 hours. But it's rich with like really cool history and really cool information. Um, This is a great jump scare simulation game. This is really good. There's things that you have to go to trigger the jump scares, and you got to find certain things, and it changes the environment. It's not like a Silent Hill change the environment kind of thing, but a door will open or a bed will get pushed out of the way in a room that you couldn't get into. But there's only like 3 rooms. So you're like, what the hell? Or there's a doll that moves around. That's my
Yeah.
favorite is the doll that moves around from room to room. And you're like, I didn't see anything move this. And you hear the pitter patter of kids running around and it's a cool game. So Summer 58's what my favorite like jump scare simulation game.
I'm watching
Yeah,
gameplay
that
footage of this. Sorry, and it just there's no jump scares chart. You just walk around in this green night vision. I'm not
That's
seeing
fine.
anything.
Go to the end and
in,
you'll get them.
in Summer of
They're there.
58.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You sure this
Oh,
is a
yeah.
horror
No,
game?
Summer of 58 was loaded with jump scares. I played that too.
Yeah.
Chard and I
played it
did an
after I
episode on that a few years
We did.
ago.
We
Okay.
did. That was
It was
before I
before he and
permanently
Sinistar
joined the podcast.
joined.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, we did an episode on scary stuff. So we're going to be retreading just a little bit of that information from that episode, but
Just a touch. We'll pull pieces from that.
yeah.
But there's a
Oh,
lot
loading
of
screen.
audio stuff. There's a lot of audio stuff in this
Yeah,
game.
it's got
The
like
sound design is epic.
yeah, it's got noises, but not like just not loud bangs and stuff. You hear like
No.
skitterings and screechings in the distance behind you, and
Yep.
so it's this game is really good at putting you on edge before something changes, and then you're just like, well, what the hell? What's happening? What's going on? And occasionally you'll see something
Okay.
just like dancing on like you'll see shadows move, something
Yep.
dancing on the other side of a transom. It's
There is. You walk in one of my favorite I have a clip of it of me doing it, but you walk into the bathroom and you do the blood dripping out of the ceiling scene and you do all that stuff and then you turn around and you go to leave the bathroom and you see what appears to be the rabbit doll, but you barely see it. You see it, but you can't see it and you're like, "What in God's green earth is that?" And then you walk out and it rushes you and it's the sound makes you like, oh good lord, like I think I broke my headphones from playing that because I tossed my headphones off of my head at least 3 or 4 times playing that game because it gets you. There's a whole area where you're in the hospital, which is the video you're in right now, where the room keeps changing and you can't get out any of the doors and you're stressing because you're trying to leave and you can hear the music swelling and it's not music, it's ambient noise swelling. And then you're finally like, there's a door finally open, and you open the door, and something jumps up, a spirit or demon jumps in your face and makes the loud, like static noise, and I go flying out of my chair because of it. So this is a great, great scary game.
Yeah. I mean, I heard you guys talk about this one a bit before, but I don't think I ever did play this one. I should probably give this one a shot. But you said it's not very long, like a couple hours, you said?
Couple hours, but I'd be
Yeah.
highly impressed if you make it through, Jake. If Elden Ring's scary. Just saying.
I've got scary games on my list, but this one looks
Challenge
okay.
made.
Yeah. Oh boy,
Challenge.
yeah.
Challenge.
Guess what
You
Jake's
got a week.
Sisyphean game is?
You got a
Survive a
week
heart
till the end
attack.
of yeah, you're gonna take a year to do 2 hours. Beautiful.
It's okay. It's okay.
Fantastic.
All
All
right.
right.
That's a good one.
Okay. Any other opinions about said game 58? We move on to the next round robin of games that we want to talk about.
yeah, we can move on to the next one. Are we
Let's
still
do it.
doing jump scares?
I have one more
Let's
jump
go to
scare game.
suspense.
No.
You got one more jump
Well,
scare? Do you
because
have
I
a
do have
suspense?
one more jump scare game too.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do that. We'll do that. I got one too, so that's fine.
But I mean, I'm not going far.
Mm.
Resident Evil 7.
There you go. Okay.
Okay.
That's a
Because
great one.
Resident Evil 7, like that one, and this one leans a lot more. This is one of the Resident Evil entries that leans more into the suspense.
Mhm.
This is probably one of the best horror games that Resident Evil has created. And I love this one. It had me on edge the whole time, but the jump scares, my God. Like, and it's not even necessarily the game doing it to you. Sometimes you do it to yourself.
Yep.
Because you're in such a panic, you're just rushing through things. You barrel through a door, and there's a fucking goo guy.
Yep. Yep. I like the mom. The mom when you're walking through and it's all quiet and
No,
you're
no
chilling.
Marguerite. I will pass.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You see the door with the skull on it or whatever, and you start walking up the stairs and you're just like bebopping around and she pops around the corner. She's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And you're like, Jesus God, what are you doing here? Like, it's insane. The jump scares in that game are crazy good. Crazy good.
Yeah.
This is the one that they mess up the dude's hand like every other scene. Is that the one?
No, that's 8.
Well,
That's 8.
8
Okay.
and well, okay, yeah.
7 does it
Eight's a lot more
once.
than 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
8 does it a bunch. So it's almost like 8 leans it a little bit to the gore porn kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
7
So
doesn't do it that bad. They go for shock
get
value once.
a trigger and a thumb. That's it. That's all Ethan's got.
Yeah.
It's a nub. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really
7
neat.
goes for the shock value right off the bat with that chainsaw scene.
Yep. Yep. This was the first Resident Evil in first person view, I believe, correct? Like everything else is usually
Yeah.
third person
I mean, if we're
or
not counting Gun Survivor.
Oh, well, no, I wasn't counting that, but I mean, you could.
Everybody's favorite
Sorry.
game.
In this, yeah, everybody's favorite noted gun survivor, Resident Evil.
Actually, no, it didn't. This is gonna be weird. Didn't Resident Evil 1 for the DS, the DS remake, have a first person mode that you could unlock?
There's
It
one
might
that
have, I don't know.
Wait, Nintendo DS?
Don't know.
Yeah. Now I gotta check that.
What?
No, Sega DS.
No,
I don't,
look,
PlayStation
asshole. I'm
DS.
thinking like PlayStation DualShock Edition or something, motherfucker. No, okay, fine. Nintendo. I just don't think of horror games on Nintendo hardware. I mean, not that that doesn't happen because the GameCube famously has Resident Evil 4, like probably the best version of it. But Nintendo DS having Resident Evil is new to me. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, the Xbox DS.
The Xbox.
Yeah,
DS. Yeah, fine. Okay.
Resident Evil Deadly Silence for the Nintendo DS has a first person mode.
Wow.
Okay. Interesting.
Nice.
Do you think jump scares are better when you're playing first person?
Yes.
Yeah, I would say overall they're easier for devs to accomplish.
Right. I think it's impressive if you can get a good jump scare in third person mode because you have a wider view, like a wider field of vision that you do in first person. And in first person, it's in your face. Like it feels like it's in your face because
Yeah.
feels like you're creeping up on the screen trying to see something, and then it gets at you. With third
Yeah,
person, you're looking over the shoulder, so it's a little less personal.
Yeah, you're more immersed and there's a little less visual to it. Like you can't necessarily see as much because you're limited to the field of view, like you were talking about. Whereas, you play the original Resident Evil, you see the room. Like that's it.
Yeah.
There's you're in
And
a
maybe some
security
things in front of
camera.
you. Yep. That's a good point. Someone in chat brought it up. The baby in 8 has got to be one of the most stressful features of any Resident Evil game I think I've ever played. There's a whole thing with that chasing you, and I can't believe how terrified I was playing that. Like the rest of the game is, I mean, it's Resident Evil, the village is fantastic from start to finish, but it almost feels like it, and pardon me for saying so, but I feel like it blows its wad a little too early, like prematurely, because it's the second place you go. And I don't, it's linear, right? Like you can't
It's
just go to
linear.
anywhere.
Once
Yeah, okay.
it sends you, location to location, and the
Yeah.
only hub is the village, which you go through multiple times throughout the game.
Right.
But yeah, that second area, it felt uncharacteristic of Resident Evil. It was very much like it's like the team was like, let's do what PT wanted to do with Silent Hill.
Yeah.
So let's do that.
Yep.
And so that's kind of what you got there, which was really cool
It was
and
awesome.
unexpected from a Resident Evil.
Yeah.
And then they made it
So-
fit like canonically with how the game's science works, which was
Right.
wild.
Yep. No, it's brilliant. That baby is another reason why I don't have children. So right.
Yeah, they're exactly
Sweet.
like Resident Evil 8. Honestly, that's how parenthood works.
I imagine from your discussion this week from your own family.
Actually, you know what? I take it back. It is exactly like parenthood, especially the week I've had. Yeah.
I'm gonna send the demon baby to school, whether it consumes a person or not. I'll just follow
If
it.
it's gonna suck blood, let it be at school, not at home. That's why I say.
Jake, what is your next jump scare game, which I'm super interested for?
Okay, this one's a legitimate one. This is Phasmophobia. Specifically for
Mm,
me, the very first time I played Phasma with you in your group for Retro's Most Haunted,
yeah.
I think I don't know if you did it on purpose, but somebody said something about get out of the house, but I didn't hear it, so I was stuck in the house, and all of you guys had left, and all I hear is like hide. So I'm in the living room of the house, I'm hiding behind like a chair or something, and I duck down, and I can hear the music changes when there's a haunting going on, all that stuff. And
Yeah.
I'm like, but I was like, I'm wondering if anybody else is there. So I'm like, is anybody there? Are you guys there? Am I by myself? Who's there? Is somebody here? And I wouldn't shut up. And I didn't realize that the game listens to you talk. You guys didn't mention that. So when I said along the lines of, is anybody there? All of a sudden I hear, I'm here, and hands come up behind in front of me and just you die. Scared the shit out of me the first time that happened.
Beautiful.
It still gets me when I play. I played it a few times now, and the same thing happens again and again, and it never fails to get a jump out of me when it happens. Just the fact that the game listens to you is creepy as hell, and it gets me every damn time. So that's my jump scare. That-
I love playing games with you and Wolf and Sinistar, of course, and we need to get GP in on it if he ever has time to do it. I think I play me and Wolf played Backrooms, and I have a clip of him screaming like the goat scream
Yeah, I'm
while he was
basically a
being chased
Muppet
by
when I play horror
wiremen.
games.
It's
Is that one scary?
fantastic,
I thought
and
that was more of a suspense kind of creepy game. I didn't realize Backrooms was
The
it's
horror game.
Backrooms
terrifying.
games, both
Yeah,
Yeah.
very
yeah,
like
Okay.
you'll scream your head off a few times.
definitely. I'll play you some clips, but we yeah, the oh my fucking that was a wolf. I think that was
That was
Alien Isolation.
Pacify, I believe. Oh my
Oh,
fucking.
okay. Um, yeah, I have a tendency that when we get some Phasmophobia versions or some Devour versions, especially in Phasmophobia, if we're doing the ghost hunting thing, we'll tell somebody to stay in a room and then we'll leave and not tell them. We'll close the door on them.
Just great time. Great
And
time. Yeah.
you got to get the it happened to all of us. We all have to learn one at a time. Once you get your first scare, it's not so bad, right? Then
No, it's
you're
still
good.
pretty bad. That game is creepy as hell. And the house
It,
is the least creepy and scary of them all. Like I still remember the is it the abandoned school I think level, which is
yeah,
just massive. So you
High
spend a
School
lot of the
Musical.
time by yourself. Yeah,
Yeah, the old
that game
brownstone.
is creep all around. It's good.
And then there's nothing better than when Bridget and Sinistar and I strike into song as we around, walk
Oh man,
around
when
these
Bridget
haunted
sings, it's
houses.
hilarious.
I play that stuff in VR and it's next level in VR. Like I can't play it
Yeah,
any other way anymore because that's my adrenaline junkie in me, I guess, for the horror stuff. That's a good one. Phasmophobia is a very extremely well done game, and for being as jank as it first came out, we were all very much on the fence of like it looks kind of tacky, but god damn, did it not hit the ghost hunting thing nail on the head? It was
yeah.
fun. It's still going. It's still fantastic, and I need to get back and play
Still do
some more rounds
updates
of
all the
that.
time, and they're always big
Yeah.
updates, new maps, new modes, revamping
Yeah.
stuff. It's best value for dollar in terms of horror games. I think it's super cheap. It
It's
always goes on sale. That's a great one.
exceptionally well polished too. So they've done
Yeah.
some really good
Yeah.
stuff to that. Good call. Good call. All right. Jump scare game for Chard. It's got to be Devour. I think Devour is my next favorite jump scare version game out there. This game is just for people getting jump scared. There's suspense that you build for yourself. But for those of you who have played Devour, or at least watched Devoured with us, Devour is a four-person demon hunting game where you are equipped with a UV flashlight and a standard flashlight. And your purpose within this game is to collect relics, most of the time goats, around the house and throw them into a sacrificial fire to get rid of the demon, to dispel the demon in the house. And you have to do this 10 times. For some levels, there's some things we have to solve a puzzle and unlock it with the spider demon that runs around. It's it's designed to just be a jump scare thing because you hear like you're running around with your friends and you're all talking to one another and you hear like the demon get really angry. The Azazel demon will start growling and you hear the twisting and turning of bodies. And then you just hear it screaming and running around the house, and you're screaming and running around the house because this thing is chasing you. And you can stop it with the UV light a couple times to calm it down, but there's also demons coming out of the floor or spiders chasing you or goats flying around in the sky depending on the level you're on. and you have to do this within a time frame because after you get to like 8 or 9 relics, the game gets increasingly difficult each time you try to depossess this person. And when it grabs you, it shows you a thing in your face, a screaming face that's all distorted, yelling at you, and literally yells in your ears. There is accessibility in Devour to turn that off if you can't handle it.
That
That's
bad,
how
huh?
intense this is. Like
Okay.
someone was like, you know what? Let's not kill everyone playing this. Let's give them the option to not have a heart attack. And I also play this in VR. And there's nothing worse than almost throwing your VR headset off because you got something right in your damn face. And it's in your face. Like it's in your face. I have some really good Sinistar yells playing that. And Jaeger, if he's here. Jaeger's has some great screams from Devour. Some really good screams from Devour. I love playing games with you guys that don't do this on a normal basis. It's so
It's not
fantastic.
the stamina for it. Sinistar in chat is saying wheelchair demons navigating stairs.
They can. They can go upstairs. There's some jank in it. I don't want to cancel us, so we're just gonna leave that alone.
Okay,
But
all
I have a
right.
really good clip that I'll tell you about later.
Okay.
That's that will not be said on this Press Beat channel. But I think Devour is a great jump scare simulator. Um, and I love it. That's a good one. Okay. All right. Are we ready to switch over to our suspense? The suspenseful ones?
Yeah, let me go first because mine is
Yeah. Okay.
half serious. You know what? It's serious. Fuck it. My game, my suspensive. That's a word. Words are hard,
That's a
Chard.
suspensive word.
Suspense game of horror is Sonic the Hedgehog. Now,
Mm.
I want you guys to tell me, for those who are watching or listening, I'm showing a video of
Yeah.
Sonic, the
Okay.
Sonic 1, the underwater level, where if you don't get the bubble in time, you drown. And the music plays and the countdown happens. Is there anything more suspenseful in gaming than Sonic drowning in a water level?
You know, I know Jake spent his 10 minutes of research designing this video because they're perfectly clipped together. No, there's not. There is when I was younger and I used to play Sonic fairly religiously because I was a Sega kid and this was one of my top favorite games. Um, my buddy and I used to play this all the time. And I was the only one that didn't stress out when the water music came on because I knew that's what it's designed to make you panic so you screw up.
Yeah.
So I just kind of rolled with it and was cool with it, but he would have a freaking meltdown when that music would go on. He'd start panicking and trying to jump places and go running around looking for air. And I'm like, dude, just stay on the path. You're fine. You're gonna be okay. He's like, no, I'm gonna drown. And you'd get to like 1 second, you'd see that little zero, but you'd jump out and you're whoop whoop and you're good. You're fine.
Yeah.
Th-
But
But I'm
sometimes
not
you
gonna
get to the
lie,
bubbles of
this
water
shit's suspenseful.
and you just miss the big one, or you're standing on the bubbles of water and you think you have lots of time for it to pop up, and it just waits. It waits, it waits, it waits,
Yep.
and then you run out of time. Anyway, you just miss the cycle. There's so many times, especially in the first game, there's so many times I died because I I missed the big bubble by fractions of a second, and it's terrifying. Anyway,
Yep.
that
I
is my
like it when
pick.
it forms and you're falling. You're like already
Yeah.
drowned and
Yes.
right where your
Thanks,
chest
Gabe.
was. And you're like, all I had to do was bend down and go, that's it. That's all I had to do. And you couldn't even let me do that. But I've never drowned in my life, so I can't tell you if that's that simple or not. To be honest with
Yeah,
I
it's
like
not
this
realistic.
video you edited together of just
I didn't.
Sonic
you. Yeah.
Okay,
drowning.
to be clear, I didn't edit this video. This is from Pro Sophia Gaming, and after the
Okay.
episode goes live, I will link everything. But he's the one he's the monster
Okay.
who made
I was
everybody
gonna
drown in Sonic for 10 minutes straight.
this guy tells me he didn't
It's
do
just
any
going from
research.
Sonic
And
game to
we've got a
Sonic game.
full clipped video of all the drowning that's being done
Yeah,
in Sonic. This guy really wanted to talk about Sonic tonight,
it's
apparently.
great. This
I
guy's
missed
a genius. 4 years ago, 10 million views. There's a lot of people like me who are scared of this game and had to go back and relive it. That's
Or
awesome.
who like to watch Sonic die.
Maybe they just like to watch Sonic die. There's some twisted folk out there,
No.
people.
Tails dying is one thing, but Sonic's okay. Anyway.
Check on your kids, guys. Check your kids.
Yeah, no, I'm inclined to disagree a little bit. I'm with Chart on this one. It just is part of the game. It's
Okay. My
do you get all scared and nervous when the music gets fast in Mario 1?
no, because you're not gonna die there. Well, I mean, I never
You
die
are if you
running
don't
out.
get the time.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
You almost never run out of time, Mario. You have 5 seconds to get a bubble on Sonic. Okay. If you don't like that one, my backup pick was Tetris. When you're playing Tetris and you're screwing up and the blocks start getting taller and taller and taller and taller, or you're playing on the Game Boy one, which is my favorite version, and then you get to the top, you get to level 10, and the speed just ramps up and they're flying down the screen. Tetris is a pretty damn scary game. Tetris Forever by Digital Eclipse is coming out in a couple weeks, guys, just so you know. Might be game of the year.
Dude.
Might be on my brain.
Dude.
Yeah.
You were just playing Alan Wake and telling me how suspenseful and scary that game can be, and you couldn't drop any Alan Wake drop on me.
Yeah, but have you played Tetris lately? Do I got to pull it up?
Dude, that game is a stress reliever for me.
It is the exact opposite.
Seriously.
This guy's pulling up Tetris. Where am I?
Honestly, there are scientific studies that show that playing Tetris after a traumatic event reduces your trauma level.
Sure, at level
Jake
0.
Play this after he drowns in Sonic.
But when you're playing like level 9 and the shit starts building up and you're running out of space and you're running out of places to breathe, it's a pretty stressful game.
When my dad died when I was a teenager, I did nothing but play Tetris for like a week straight.
Well, you must be pretty good at Tetris then, because like if you're not great at this game, like this guy on the video right now just died. That's terrifying. This is a
he
grade
gave
A
up.
horror game. Yeah,
because he was relaxed. He was done. He didn't need it anymore.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. Okay. All right. Okay. That's fine. That's fine.
Wolf, what's your suspense game? God, make it not be Mario's fast music.
It's Circus Charlie. No. It's Silent Hill 1.
Yes. Okay,
that is still one of my favorite experiences playing a game. And I'm sure I've told this story before, and I'll tell it again. I don't care.
Let's go.
It was like Friday night. So I'd been up since, like, we're talking high school because this is the year it came out. My buddy came to stay the night. We'd both been up since like 6 a.m. because catching the bus then was stupid. So we go to the video store, we rent this, go back to my place and start playing at 8 o'clock at night. So we're already 14 hours into our day at that point. So we're going through, it's pitch black outside. We don't have the lights on in my room. We're just playing the game, just the TV light. That's all we got. And I don't think we stopped playing that until about 3 a.m. that night. And just every time the siren went off, like we were seeing shit in the corners of my room by the time we were done. That's how psychologically that game gets you. And we're talking PS1, right? Like we knew it wasn't pretty, but it was immersive as hell and really did the job.
Well, I mean, back then, that was some unheard of shit that you were dealing with back then.
This is true.
Yeah. This is a great series. I mean, Silent Hill, I don't need to gush any more than we already have in the last 5 episodes that we've talked about. I'm sure I've just been bleeding heart for Silent Hill, but this series is just so good because unlike Resident Evil, which I said in another podcast, this works with your mind. This works against your brain, not against your fear of zombies or your fear of dead dogs and all this other crap or mutants or whatever. This is dealing with psychological shit. And it really makes you stop and think, like, is this real? Is this really happening? And of course, the PS1, you look at it now and you're like, yeah, no, this is kind of whatever. But it was such a cool twist to change your environment completely. You're in a normal setting. You're in somebody's kitchen in their apartment.
Yeah, you're walking down neighborhood streets with mailboxes and
then the fucking walls start bleeding and you hear an alarm and everything turns to rust. And it's just it's dark and it's twisted and it's scary. This is a scary series of games. I love this game. And I love the puzzles.
Especially like, oh my gosh, you get to the point, the radio was a huge thing because you just start hearing that white noise before you see what's coming. And so you're like, it builds. And so you're on edge the moment you hear that radio stirring. You're like, uh-oh, Where is it?
Yeah.
And then you start hearing the noises that whatever creature it is makes, be it like screeching or just footsteps or little squeaky toy sounds, which,
Yep.
dear God, that was the worst.
Yep.
Just
Yep.
hearing the squeaky toys and seeing the trail of footsteps off in the distance disappear.
Mhm.
Like, oh,
I think for
that
me,
got
like
me good back then.
That's a good one.
as much as I liked Resident Evil 2 and 3, when I'm comparing Resident Evil 1 with Silent Hill, I think Silent Hill is far scarier game, hands down.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And like I know it, and again, I rag on PS1 graphics all the time, but I actually think this one is pretty good. I think it still holds up for the system that's on. The fog is kind of like, you guys still give me shit for fog Turok, but anyway, it's fine in this one. But what got me in this one is the rust covered interior levels areas. Those are creepy as all hell. And this is the game. This is the one where you're in the hospital and there's the toddlers with the knives. I remember that because
Yep.
this is the game that gave me fucking jump scares too. But the
No, the first time
atmosphere,
they appear is like in a restaurant or something.
is it?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
it's
just
like
remember them and the sounds they make. So
it's like about an hour into the game, I want to say, give or take. The first time
okay.
you enter hell, everything's
Yeah.
just dark.
Yeah.
And then you're like exploring and you see this little shadow move off in the corner of the room. Like, what was that? And then you see this little penguin wobbly thing coming at you. It's like child sized and it's got a knife. What are they in Final Fantasy? It's one of those.
Oh, it's a Tonberry. Yeah.
Yeah,
Tonberry,
it's a
yeah,
freaking
yeah.
Tonberry. Because if
But
they
with no
get to you,
skin.
you're done.
Skinless Tonberry. I have one of them.
A skinless Tonberry? Really?
Well, it's not skinless.
It's not skinless. I don't want to see it. That's just a Tonberry.
But yeah, they're just naked Tonberries without a lantern.
Tonberries would be a good discussion. Those things are suspenseful as fuck because they just keep creeping toward you.
Yeah, they just keep walking at you.
That's a
Stop
good one.
stealing my picks.
Final Fantasy VII Tonberries. That sounds like a Jake pick.
Yeah.
All
No,
right.
I agree with you. Silent Hill's a great one. This game is all atmosphere, 100% all atmosphere, from the textures and the grime to the sound effects, the fog, and even when you're not outside in the fog, the inside it's pitch black, and all you have is that flashlight. This is 100% atmospheric horror. This is a good pick.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Silent Hill 2 remake. Obviously, no one's surprised by that. But what I like about what they did with the third person view in this, and I wanted to talk about in the last episode when we actually talked about Silent Hill, was your field of view in the tank view. You're limited by where the camera is positioned, right? So you don't have a great field of view because you're doing the tank controls thing. But with over the shoulder, you would think, okay, I got a little bit more sight to whatever. Like when you play Dead Space, you got some good sight. But this one, with your light, it literally only shines like a few feet out in front of you, and you can't see anything in front of you except when you slowly approach something. Like when you're out in the streets and it's dark after you do the hospital thing and the sun's gone down, you're walking around the streets and you're looking down the street and you can't see the end of the street, but you know the buildings are there, and they just, the way they fade in as your light hits it is just perfectly. And then, like Wolf said, there's something undulating in the fucking background, and you're like, what in the God's green earth is that? Like, what is it going to do? And that kind of stuff just really sets me on edge. I love that stuff. So I guess I need to talk about my suspense game now, huh? We've talked about Alien Isolation. We've talked about Dead Space. Talked about Visage. We've talked about Silent Hill. We've talked about all the heavy hitters that's out there. But I have to go back to a Dead Space series, but I'm going to go back to Dead Space 2. I don't think I've talked heavily about Dead Space 2 because we've talked about the remake and its comparison to 1 and all that stuff. And I know that Sinistar loves Dead Space 2. I think he says it's his favorite out of the series. But there's a scene it's like you're wandering around in the sprawl, which is the space station that the necrophorps infest, that you are found after your derelict ship basically lands on the sprawl. And this is a giant city that's out in the middle of nowhere, and the necromorphs have infested this thing, right? And the whole thing starts out, you wake up and you're like in a hospital bed, and the doctor's talking to you. He's like, things are going down, shit's happening. And one of those bat necromorph creators literally crawls up this dude's back, and you're like, this guy's in your face talking to you, and it stabs him in the head, like in the middle of his forehead, and then it flies away, and it turns him into a necromorph while he's grabbing you. You're like trying to shake free because you're strapped to the chair because you're in a medical hospital, and it is transforming into this creature that's going to kill you in front of your face. That's how this game starts. And then you fight it off and you fucking run, just like you do in the second one. But I think the most unnerving thing about this particular playthrough, other than the creatures that's created, is there's a nursery like in the school that you go through in the sprawl, and there's these awful little kid necromorphs they're like toddler. They're not the babies with the tentacles in their backs. They're like toddlers, and they swarm you, and they make these giggly kid fucking sounds, and it is horrific. And there's all these, the fucking nighttime music is playing, like you're trying to put the children to sleep, and the mobiles are spinning and all this crap, and it is just such a suspenseful area. Yeah, you got a straight jacket on. Thank you. Yeah, you got the straight jacket on. Thank you for the video. And you're trying to escape these things in a straight jacket, and you're watching them just get everybody annihilated around you as you're just trying to navigate where the hell you are. This game is so perfectly designed to just create that suspense and that horror that you don't necessarily need a jump scare, because you are on the edge of your seat from the start of this game to the finish. You are chased by an indestructible necromorph for a good chunk of the game, trying to figure out how to stop it. If you miss your shot, you can blow out a window into space, and of course the vacuum picks you and anything up, and you have about this much time to shoot the shutter button to close the window.
Oh,
I mean,
like
that's just
like Sonic
you're
has
just
water
freaking out.
bubbles. Same thing.
Yeah, it's the same music too while you're sliding out the space window. It's da, 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 da. Ridiculous. But no,
I
Dead
didn't know
Space
this
2,
was a horror
button says,
game.
"Oh, ah!"
it is. Dead
Yeah.
Space 2? Are you
The
high?
franchise. I didn't realize it was a horror franchise. I thought it was like a sci-fi shooting game. I've never played it. I watched you play it for a little bit, but I didn't realize it was like a horror game.
I wish
Well,
this
hey,
I wish
this
our
I learned,
audio
okay?
was visual.
Look, I
We've
don't play these
literally
games
done
like you do.
episodes specifically about this game.
Again, I don't pay
Sinistar and I
attention,
have
Charlie.
talked at nauseum about this game.
Do you think I listen when I edit?
Wow.
I just skim through. I have you guys on 1.5 speed, and it's chipmunk sounds. Nothing scary when I'm listening to chipmunks and I'm editing. It's fine. Listen,
Yes, this
Tetris.
whole title
That's a game.
is a horror game. This whole game is a horror game. And again, I watched the whole interview with the guy talking about how he designed it. My favorite thing is he took inspirations from horror movies. And what's the number one horror movie he took inspiration from? Fucking Event Horizon, which I was like, that's exactly what this game is. It's Event Horizon in space.
Okay.
It's designed the same exact way. There's not enough I could say. A lot of people hate the third one. I still think the third one's got some great jump scares and some fun stuff in it. This one has me on edge. I would love to say like Alien Isolation, and Wolf can agree with me on this because he's played through it not with me, but at the same time we were playing it. We also talked about it in a later episode or earlier episode, so
Yeah.
I don't want to talk that. But that's Locker Simulator 2028 for us, or 2018 for us, because
I didn't use the lockers much in that. I was a table guy.
Really?
Get me under the
abused.
tables, get me under the beds.
Locker abuse. I would there'd be so many people mad at me for all the shit I threw on the floor to get into their goddamn lockers. I just hid in there, just looked through those little slats. That's all I did.
Yeah, I never finished
For
it, but
hours.
I remember nothing but lockers. Just hide in the lockers. And I think you see the alien walk by occasionally, if I'm not wrong.
You can. Yeah.
Yeah, that game is creepy as hell. That's no
And
one I
it'll
was too
come
scared to
in-
finish.
It'll come and smell your vent holes that you're looking through.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
what it's doing, but it gets like right up in your face, and you have to hold your breath, because if it hears you, it'll catch you. But I'm still really mad that Xbox is the only one that utilized the voice.
I thought it was
headphone?
PlayStation 4 that did that.
PlayStation 4 might have done. One of the consoles did it, but they
I think it was a
didn't do it for
PlayStation
PC.
exclusive.
Yeah, they
Okay.
didn't do it for PC, and that fucking made me mad, because that's such a cool I think that was before Phasmo. That's before we had
Yeah.
games that listened to what you were doing in a horror aspect. So I was like, I didn't have a PlayStation at the time. I only had the Xbox, and I was like, come on, man. I bought it on Steam, but I was like, that should translate. You would think that would
Yeah.
translate to all this stuff that I have here.
I'm
So I'm
surprised the
sure there's
Steam
a
version
mod
didn't
out
have
there
that.
that does that.
Oh, there
Yeah.
has to be. Yeah.
There's not even a mod for it. Somebody was trying to develop a mod for it
Oh.
and stopped.
Hmm.
Wow.
So there's
They
no
probably
mod
got
for it for
cease and
PC,
desist.
nothing. It's gotta be PlayStation.
Yeah.
It
Sega
might be
was
on
like, stop.
Xbox now, but it's not on PC is the point,
Yeah, it's still not on
which
Okay.
PC.
sucks.
Yeah, it does suck. I'm
Um,
hoping that when because they've announced Alien Isolation 2 for
Yes.
2026, that they will add that feature to everything because it's too cool of a feature. And it's so like common ground now in horror games to be like, we're gonna use your microphone. That they
yeah.
should
Do you
do that.
do you want an Alien Isolation 2? Do you think there's a need for
Yes.
one?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Oh
Okay.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Alien
Well, here's the
Isolation, I'm not the biggest horror game player because I'm a chicken shit. But from the
I don't know.
horror
You don't
games
think
I've
Tetris is
played, seen,
scary,
and
so I feel like
experienced,
you're pretty good.
I
Just
think Alien Isolation was probably the best horror game I've played.
Okay.
the design in that game is to be commended, regardless if you're a fan like I am or a casual player like most
Oh
people are.
yeah,
It
like
is
you can
so well done. It's like a
if
movie.
you go into it having zero experience with Alien,
Mhm.
at the very least, you're gonna have a hell of a time if you like horror games.
Yep.
Like it's gonna be great regardless because it doesn't expect you to have knowledge of prior movies, stories, whatever. However, if you are familiar with the movies and or books or whatever, like just the expanded Alien franchise, there's gonna be a lot of stuff that you recognize or think is really cool because it's a nod to something from the movies, and it's like,
A lot of Easter
oh,
eggs.
that's cool.
A
So
lot of cool Easter eggs.
it's yeah, it's Easter eggs and appreciation for the type of technological design that
Mhm.
they incorporated into the world
Yeah. It's a
because
great
it's all
game.
that.
Don't get me wrong. I just didn't know. It just feels like a great standalone game, and I worry that they might ruin it with a sequel. Right? Like I don't want 'em to mess up the
It
gameplay too much. It should be what the first one is gameplay wise, right? I don't want to see like
I
I don't want you to be like a marine or something stupid in the sequel.
Yeah.
I want you to
No,
be
I
just the average
I would
person, right?
love that's what Alien Isolation should be, is just you or me or
well,
Wolf
Yeah.
stuck on a spaceship trying to survive,
yeah,
with little
and
kiddos.
if you consider it, I know we've seen like Alien Colonial Marines or something like that, and that
Yeah.
game was broken,
Fire
which is why it
fire
sucked.
team
But
and yeah.
yeah, Fire Team. A lot of the games end up being military,
Yeah.
but this is like the one game that decided let's approach it like the movie.
Yeah.
And so I think
And hit
that's
it.
what we're going to get out of Isolation 2 as well.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
excited for it. That's probably going to be like a day one purchase for me because I
For
just,
sure. Same. Same. I mean, even Alien Romulus, the newest movie that was just released, is basically Alien Isolation, the movie. I mean,
Yeah.
they took the same kind of aspects from the movie, the game, and put them into the movie, and it's great. It's like a return to what the whole series used to be about, because everybody's so hung
Yeah.
up on aliens and the cool
yeah.
marines and the guns and the shooting and the robots and all that stuff. And it's a great movie. Don't get me wrong. I love Aliens. I think it's a fantastic movie. But the game should be not about how badass you are. It's about how not badass you are and how you are able to get through this perfect specimen hunting you throughout
Yeah.
this entire spaceship. It is just too good. It's too good, and having a second one I think would be just as good, as long as, like Jake says, they stick to the formula. Like the original
Yeah.
team did their homework and they did a
Yeah.
great job. So
Isolation is probably also the best marriage of both the jump scares and the psychological horror in a
agreed.
video game that I've seen.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's because it like you said, it really does embody that monster in the house feel of the first movie,
Mhm.
where you don't know where it could be. You have an idea sometimes where you hear the thumping in the vents and stuff, or you see that dot just zoop, which I know pulls from the second movie more than the first, but it's still kind of
Attractive.
cool to see that and experience that. And then, now and then you won't even get the chance to react. It'll just be like you're not paying attention to the vent because you're so worried about the sounds you heard behind you that you're moving. All of a sudden, right on top of you.
Yep.
Or you're
you
hiding
didn't
in a
see the pool
spot.
of drool that's underneath the vent, and you just run right through, and he grabs you. Like
Yeah, or you're
it's good.
hiding in a vent wall, a vent in the wall or something, thinking, "Oh, it can't get me here," and it
Yeah.
reaches in and grabs you.
Yep. Done that. Turn around. Oh shit, there it is. It's behind me this whole time. It's
I
yeah.
I couldn't tell
It's
you how many times I would just be running screaming from that thing going, "I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die."
Yep.
Dude, there's something about
Yep.
Alien where when they stick to the basics, I like it more. I've been watching
Yeah.
Prometheus and the sequels. I want to watch Romulus. I'm kind of working back up to it, and like I like the lore that Ridley Scott has made with aliens and Prometheus and trying to explain some of the plot hole. I like that stuff to a degree, but Alien is at its best when it's mostly focusing on that primal fear, the nobody, and the alien creature. When you get beyond that, it's nowhere near as good. Like I like Prometheus, but it's nowhere near as impactful or as great or as scary as Alien was. So I
Yeah,
appreciate what Alien Isolation does.
the expanded lore is great, but sometimes all you need is just the basic, like
Yeah,
you're
Yeah.
saying, that fear. Like Prey went back to the roots of Predator,
Yeah,
it's
I was just gonna
awesome
and
say
it
that.
was
movie.
so
Yeah.
good.
Yep.
Because
It's
there's
so
zero
simple.
understanding for someone in the 1700s being like, "What is this thing?"
Yeah.
It's a killing machine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This giant monster just killing things in the woods. That's it,
Yeah.
right? So
Put someone in a spaceship with an alien or two that has little to no knowledge of what's going on, and just let them run rampant. That's what I came to see. It's the same thing with Predator. Put them in a forest, give them a few tips and tricks, and just let them hunt each other and see what happens. It doesn't have to be this expanded lore. I'm with Jake. I like Prometheus. I really like the Ridley Scott lore and all that stuff.
mhm,
But I feel like the last two or three movies that came out, the two before Romulus, like Covenant and
That's the one.
Prometheus, were just so lore heavy that
mhm.
it buried the whole point of the movie, because you're like, oh look, we're finding out why this person did the blah 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 blah. And I was like, I don't care. I'm glad they're manufactured, and I'm sorry that they hated us and wanted to kill us all. Let's get to the thing that's going to kill us. Let's go find that thing. I like that thing better. So, and it's hard to take Danny McBride seriously. I love that guy.
Yeah, he's a weird casting choice. I mean, I don't hate him, but not my first choice for an Aliens movie.
No, no.
Okay.
All right. Well, we are an hour in, guys. Is there anything else that we had on our minds we wanted to discuss before we go ahead and say this is a pretty good Halloween-esque episode?
Um, I've talked about Haunting Ground before, but I would say that's a good psychological horror one, just
Okay.
because it actually messes with the player's point of view to
Mm,
where the color fades away and it starts leaving trails and artifacting and lower frames per second kind of thing. So it messes with your perception literally.
mm, mhm.
But we've
Okay.
also talked about that in depth in other episodes, so I'm not gonna dive too
Yeah.
heavily into that right now.
Right. I've not talked about Forewarned very much. For those of you who don't know what Forewarned is, it's another RMH game that I love playing with Sinistar and subsequent other members of our Register's Most Haunted team. It's basically you go into pyramids in ancient, not in ancient Egypt, but you are archaeologists going into pyramids and finding artifacts and stuff. And while you're in there, there are mummies and jinns and demons and Egyptian lore demons running around in this place, and it's full of booby traps. And if you go and find like the sacred piece inside the thing, it triggers the jinn to come and find you, and you have to like either make no noise and crawl out of a place or something. You get attacked by alligators. I mean, it's an extremely well done game. Um, and I would recommend if anybody's into like jump scare kind of suspense 4-person games, is to try Forewarned and pick that one up. Um, that is a really really stellar game. So I would
Okay.
absolutely recommend Forewarned to anybody else that's into that stuff.
Yeah, I guess the one I'll recommend is probably the one you're thinking of, Chart, is Alan Wake, right? Alan Wake, and specifically Alan Wake 2. I won't talk much about it because I haven't finished Alan Wake 2. I think you and I are going to also do an episode hopefully soon about it once we finish it.
Starting it tonight.
Like it's the best thing about that one is the atmosphere. Like even early on in Alan Wake 2, they definitely play with the concept of light, just like the first one did. and you really have to use the flashlight to kind of wear down enemies before you can kill them. And that gets pretty suspenseful when you realize the flashlights have batteries. I mean, you can upgrade the flashlight here and there, but it does get pretty suspenseful. And there's a lot of jump scares in it. I remember the first boss I had a hard time with. I mean, first off, I had like no ammo, which made it scary as hell. But there's an escape sequence where you're running away from it, and it's I don't know if it's random or they change it on you, but that game does things with the changing of environments at certain points that really messes with your head. So you're trying to escape from a boss, and there's a lot of twists and turns through like a jungle vegetation area of a forest, and you get so turned up and turned around, and if you go the wrong direction, boss right in front of your face, and it gets me. Very, very interesting game, very suspenseful. I think it's not as horror bound as some other games we talked about tonight. It's more of a story, psychological thriller, maybe. Definitely psychological elements to it. So maybe not horror like we talked about today, but I definitely think it's in the category. But Alan Wake 2 has been great so far.
I think Alan Wake 2 definitely can nestle up comfortably into a horror type category. There's a lot of suspense, a lot of dark areas. I mean, the first Alan Wake had some really good horror elements to it too. I mean, he references Stephen King's writing all the time because Alan Wake's a
Right.
writer, and how he was going into writing a horror story, or this person made him write this story, and it's turning into this tragic horror story that he did not intend to write. So I definitely would agree with you that it has a lot. I think it's more aimed on the suspense note than the jump scare note,
Yeah.
as it were. But there's definitely some, oh shit, it's right in front of me. Like there's a lot of build up to, like you said, I did the same thing with the boss fight where you're like, okay, run through the trees, run through the trees. Oh shit,
Yeah.
there he is. Like
Yeah.
how do you get in front of me? I've been running from him for like 10 minutes. So it definitely, I would agree with that. Absolutely. So good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff, fellas. This is good. I love to talk about this stuff. This is one of my favorite subjects for this time of year, is to talk about these horror and jump scare games, and I love this. So thank you so much for joining me on that. There's nothing else that anybody has to say. I will go round robin and ask what our team is doing with themselves. Wolf, what are you up to on this Halloween?
I don't know. We might be trick or treating around your neck of the woods again.
Fantastic. I was going to ask you that over an MP. So now that I know that, we'll talk on MP. Beautiful. All right. Jake, what about you? What do you got coming up? What do you got going on? Taking the
Yeah,
kids out?
quick
What are we
shout
doing?
outs. I did some guest spots the last couple days. I'm pulling up the list because it's long. First off, for Boss Rush Network, a podcast over on YouTube, I did do an episode of their expansion pass. It's on their Patreon though. Guys, what are we doing? If they release it, they said they might release it during Thanksgiving weekend. Anyway, if not, check out Boss Rush Network on YouTube. I will probably do another episode with them in the future. Ideally, one that I can share with you guys. But it was fun either way. They're a nice group of guys. Check them out. I also did an episode with the Gaming Together podcast with Nave and Phil. We talked about everybody's favorite game, Balatro. That was also a really fun time. Got Phil, who's one of the co-hosts, was on a hiatus for a while, so it was his first time back, and we talked about his trip to Canada and up to Alaska. So that was kind of fun. And of course, Balatro. I mean, we did a whole episode on that one. That one's an awesome game. So check out Gaming Together podcast, please. And then also, I did an episode of the 3DO Experience with Bill and Thrak. Both are fantastic guys. I've done stuff with them in the past before. It was great to be on the 3DO podcast. No, we didn't talk about 3DO. And it was supposed to be about horror games, but no, we didn't really talk about horror games either. It was kind of a random tangent episode of side stuff, but it was a lot of fun. So please sure to check out the 3DO Experience. Those guys are great too. If you haven't noticed, we're trying to network more. We're trying to do more guest spots on other podcasts and try and spread the word of Press B. We're really trying to grow our channel. So if you are watching this episode, please give us a like, give us a follow, whatever's free. Just do the free stuff. That's what we appreciate.
Yeah,
Leave a
do the free
review.
stuff.
Tell your friends. Tell your dog. Yeah, there you go.
Whoa. There you go. Get the Wololos out. Fantastic. Yeah, Jake's been hitting the pavement. He's been hitting the digital audio payment for quite a bit. And I've come along on some of the rides that he's had a lot of fun with a lot of new folk. And he's right. We are trying to spread our wings outside of our own little bubble of Press B to Cancel. which you can come and pop that bubble, burst that bubble over at Discord if you'd like to. Join our Discord channel. Tell us your favorite suspenseful games, your favorite jump scare games, or your least favorite. If you don't give a crap about horror games like we do, please just tell us what you think. Tell us how Jake is wrong about Tetris and Sonic, or tell us how Jake is absolutely right. How stressful it is to hear that music, because he's not the only one that's told me that. So that's a totally
Elden Ring's a
normal
horror
thing.
game. Change my mind.
Change my mind. Also, you can find us at pressbtocancel.com and pressb.org. I said those both right. Thank you.
I had to double check.
Proud of myself. You can also come and find me. I know it's my own stupid, shameless self plug over at Twitch, playing Alan Wake 2 this evening and probably the rest of the weekend. We're going to be firing that up straight from scratch. I've played it a couple times on stream, but it was more or less, I was trying to get my feel back for streaming because it had been a while. We just bought the house when we did it. And we're just going to start it over and get the whole thing going. So Alan Wake 2 tonight over at twitch.tv/Chardmonk. And please follow my other friends on here as well. Follow DJ Spinistar. He is currently in the middle of moving and getting his house ready. He will be back with us as soon as he is able to do so. But give that guy some love and give him his best wishes, as well as witches, because it is October. Also, let's give love to GP, who is also busy doing family stuff this weekend, but we miss him and love him and want him to be here as well. So he's here with us in spirit. Again, another Halloween reference. Thank you, Chard. I'm full of them. Until next week, guys, have a wonderful, scary, and safe Halloween and enjoy yourselves. And until then, this has been Press B to Cancel.
Don't smell people's